Hey guys, what's going on? Supercar Street Racing here. Saturday afternoon. Just got done with a big project on the house that you guys are going to see in the next day or so. But I am headed to Advance Auto Parts because we're going to be doing a 335i oil change video. And so I experimented a little bit with getting a filter from like Walmart didn't have my filter. I tried like 4 different ones and they were out of all of them last time. So I ended up getting the filter from Advance last time, and it ended up costing just as much as getting everything from Advance with the oil change kit. So the oil change special at Advance is $37. It went up quite a bit, $37, $38. 5 quarts of SuperTech full synthetic, which is really good oil from Walmart, is $18. But when you go to Advance, the filter is then another $14. So 18 plus 14, 28, 34. You're almost at the price of the oil change special. So you're better off just getting all your stuff from Advance at this point. If they have your filter at Walmart, definitely buy it there. But they were out last time I went, and I don't want to make a trip over there for nothing. So I like the SuperTech oil. The full synthetic SuperTech is just as good as Mobil 1. It is actually made by one of those, higher advanced oil companies and sold to Walmart at a cheaper price. And yeah, so I think I'm gonna head over to Advance Auto Parts right now. I already have some oil, so I have enough to make up it's 6.9 quarts for the 335i. So I'm gonna go pick up the 5-gallon oil change special. Usually you have to buy 2 so that you get 6.9 quarts, but I already have some oil. So gonna run over there and grab an oil change special now, and then after I have that, I'll update you guys on what's next. Yeah, I just wanted to tell you guys too, it's about $100 to get the oil changed at the local BMW specialist shop. If you're not into doing the work, then I suggest you just take it to them or the dealer. I think the dealer charges like $150, but I can do it for about $45 is what $50 max. So that saves quite a bit of money on this oil change. So I actually like doing it, but the difficult part about doing this car is that it's so low to the ground. Not only do I have to have a low profile jack, I also have to drive the car up on little boards to get the car even high enough where the jack will go under it, because I do have the M Sport suspension on here. So it makes it kind of hard. So I have to go on boards first. Then if I want to, I can maybe get it on the ramps, but I'll just put it on the jack, and I'll show you guys the jack point is right like underneath the shifter here under the car. There's a little point where you put the floor jack under. So yeah, so it's not an easy oil change by any means. And really, honestly, once you have your floor jack under there, you can just get your jack stands under there, and you don't really need to drive it up on any ramps. Those jack stands will definitely save your life, so do not get under the car without jack stands ready there for some emergency support if you need it. All right, guys, we are about to pull up at Advance Auto Parts here. If this guy in the back doesn't ram me driving aggressively. Going to get the oil change special. Looks like it's kind of crowded in here. We are at Advance Auto Parts. I'm not gonna record in the store because it's awkward sometimes for the people that work there. All right, guys, just got out of Advance Auto Parts. Ended up getting the Mobil 1 5W40 European formula. Like the car knows if it's, the oil knows if the car's European or not. It's ridiculous. But I got the K&N oil filter. It was $40 for 5 quarts of oil and the oil filter. So this stuff has gone up $10 since the last time I did it. But I already have some oil at home. Don't feel bad about mixing full synthetic oil. It's no big deal. Doesn't matter. And I'll update you guys next when we get there. I think that's a 640i in front of us. All right, guys, we are done with the gym now. And I forgot I don't have an oil change collector thingy, bucket. They suck anyway because they leak no matter what. But I have like a plastic tray that I put them in, but I need an oil change collection thing, so I'm gonna head to Walmart here and see if I can find one. People will go at the light, you know, they like to stop and keep you there until it turns red. And so yeah, we're gonna hit Walmart up right now and see what they have. All right, we're out here at Walmart now. Looks like we got a 16 quart container here for 12 bucks, not bad. I'm gonna go ahead and grab that now. I think that works perfect. Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Today we got a good special video for you guys because my last video about the Honda Civic oil change did very well. I think it has around 25 to 30,000 views right now. So I thought we would take some time to check out how to change your oil in this 335i. And now this is an N55 and this is an E93. Pretty much N54 will be the same procedure. And so we need to talk a little bit about what tools you're going to need to do this oil change. And let's start from here and work our way over that way. So first thing you're going to need is a funnel, unless you're going to just try to pour it without a funnel. Next you need the oil filter housing cover wrench. And this is one that I ordered off of Amazon. I'll put a link in the description. Now remember, BMW is smart. They don't have an oil filter that screws off from the bottom and covers you with oil. They have a cartridge-based oil filter right here on the top. It's right underneath this guy right here. I'll show you later. So this is the wrench, the socket that gets the top of the oil filter housing off easily without you having to use vice grips and ruining your nice oil filter housing. Here we have a oil drain pan, I guess you would call it, that I just got from Walmart. It was $11 and it says it holds 16 quarts. So the engine in the N55 holds 6.9 quarts of oil. Remember that when you're going to shop for oil. We also have our ratchet here, and it is just a standard ratchet. Now the drain plug is 17 millimeter. We got a breaker bar here just in case we need that. We have some towels. Always have some disposable towels and always have some regular towels. And then the last thing is your supplies. Here are the rest of your supplies. Here we have 5 gallons of Mobil 1 synthetic, and we have a K&N oil filter. Now this was all purchased with the oil change special at Advanced Auto Parts. So 5 gallons of oil and the filter was $40. Now I already have 2 more gallons to make up the 7 gallons. You're going to need 7 gallons of oil to change the oil in this N55. This is an E93, E92, E90 are the same car. This is just a convertible. So here's everything you need once again. You need a funnel, oil filter housing cover wrench, which is right here. These are available on Amazon. You need some regular towels. You need a K&N or other oil filter. You need oil, 6.9 quarts of oil. Oil drain bin. Ratchet or wrench, 17 millimeter socket here. A breaker bar maybe, if you can't get it off. Shop towels. And a couple of more things, which I'm going to show you next. So there's a couple of other things you're going to need for this oil change, and since my 335i is so low, I have the M Sport suspension. I need a low profile jack and I need 2x4s. I cannot get this jack underneath the car here without first driving up on some boards. The car is way too low. You might find that the same on your car, or you might have a little bit higher suspension, but you're going to need at least a jack or ramps, and this car will not drive up on ramps, it's way too low. You're going to need jack stands, 2 jack stands, and maybe some wood to drive your car up on the ramps, because if you're like me, you suffered from having a low car forever and it just does not want to drive up on the ramps. So we drive up on the wood first, which I'll show you here shortly. Then we jack the car up with the jack, and then we put the car on jack stands and let it down, pull the jack out so we can actually get under there.
Let's talk about everything you're going to need to change the oil in your E90 BMW. You're going to first need an oil filter. BMW uses a cartridge type oil filter. You're going to need an oil filter cap removal tool to take the cap off the oil filter housing. You're going to need a 17mm socket and ratchet, or a 17mm wrench, and possibly a breaker bar. You're going to need an oil drain pan to catch the oil. You're going to need 6.9 quarts of synthetic oil. You might need some shop towels. You're going to need jack stands, probably a low profile floor jack because the cars are so low to the ground, and maybe some old wood to drive the car on to get the floor jack under the car. Alright guys, we do have the car up on some, not up on, but we're about to drive the car up onto some wood here. Just be aware this wood has a tendency to slip. Make sure there's no nails in it because I almost drove onto a nail one time. And we are ready. Mr. Binks just came in the garage. Let's go ahead and drive up. If we can, if it doesn't slip. Alright guys, that didn't work at all. It just pushed the actual carpet here, so I'm going to try some different pieces of wood here. So these guys work pretty good, these flat pieces. I'm going to go ahead and put them on top of that, right there. Hope they don't slip. This is why changing the oil in this car sucks. Big time. Let's try to get that up on those too. Alright, I think we're on there. I believe we got that. We did. Okay, cool. Now we must have enough room now. Let's make sure you're still in the frame. You are. Now there's a jack point in the center. It's kind of hard to see, but it's right in the middle. There's a hole. There's literally a hole where your jack fits. You can see it. If you look under the car, there's a recessed area where your jack is. You know you got it wrong if you get the plastic part and they're all off. Yep. So there's a plastic cover underneath here. Your jack fits right in the hole. And I'll show you guys once we get under the car. Car is coming up. Now it's so low that I like to have some room to work. And we got to get the jack stands under it. Yep, we're on the right mounting point. This is a Pittsburgh. Even the lowest profile jack I could find at Harbor Freight does not go low enough to get under this car without driving it up on the wood. Now we take our jack stands. Got our jack stands here. Raise them up. There's some jack points over here. Now here's the other issue. Now your wood is probably in the way of your... okay, it's right here. There's a jack point on the side of the car, which I'll show you guys too. Go ahead and go up a little bit more. So I can get all the way under there. Alright, so there's a kind of a rubber plastic jack point on the side of each side of the car that you want to be under. But don't put your wood too long on there because you won't be able to get your jack stand there. This side just a little bit. Needs like one more pump of the jack. All right, that's perfect. Got the jack stands under there. Now the jack can't stay under the car because I don't have room to work if it is. I'm gonna go ahead and lower the car on the jack stands very slowly. So you just, now I would like to have this stay underneath the car. If I can work under there, I'll do that. If I can't, I will pull the jack out. All right, guys, I did jack up the jack about one press to get the stress off of the, not completely off of the jack stands, but to get some weight on the jack. So I can show you guys this. So there's the jack mounting point. It's very clearly a circle there. And then right there, that is where you open to change the oil to get to the drain plug. So obviously the jack is in the way here. We might still be able to put the drain on top of this jack, but we are gonna need a screwdriver to get that out, and I forgot to mention that in the tools. This, you just put a screwdriver in the middle. It looks like it's kind of stripped out on mine, but yeah, let me grab a screwdriver flathead. All right, guys, I managed to get some light under here and got the flathead. So you just, wow, this thing's super stripped out. Yeah, this guy is stripped. So my little cover stripped out. You're supposed to just be able to put that there, and it is not gonna happen. So I gotta turn it by hand or with a wrench. Let me see. Okay, almost. All right, I'm gonna do this with 2 hands. All right, guys, you can see here the little flap just comes down, and there is the oil change. Let me get the light on this thing so you guys can see it. All right, guys, there is the 17mm bolt. So I'm gonna get out and get the tools I need. That's very hot still. The jack is right in the way, so I hope I can get the oil change tray like right here to catch the oil. I usually take the jack out, but I'm kind of nervous about doing that. I don't trust the jack stands 100%, but there is what we need to take out. I do have a 17mm deep well socket and a ratchet for this, so I'm gonna go grab it. All right, guys, here is the oil pan drain thingy, catch, whatever you want to call it, and I was hoping there wasn't a big hole there. There's not. This will catch your oil drain plug when you put it in. So what we will do is slide that dude over like this from this side. Get that under there where we can get to it. And then let's also put some towels under there in case we try to make a mess. Get our shop towels out. Have those ready on standby. We got our shop towels here. We got some regular crappy rags for this. We'll throw those under here on this side. And if we need the breaker bar, which probably that might be a good idea just to use that instead of the 17mm socket, then let's just take the breaker bar under there. Probably make my life easier. Got the breaker bar, 17. Let's get under there and do some work. All right, guys, I don't know how that shot's gonna look. It's kind of propped up somewhere because I can't get the tripod under, but I got my breaker bar, and this little trap door comes out completely, as you can see here. I don't have my oil drain pan in here yet because
I'm not quite ready for that because the oil is so hot. Yeah, this barely fits in here with a deep well. You almost need a regular one, which I don't have one. Can you believe it? I don't have a 17 millimeter regular. Okay, that came off real easy. We're good. We'll use the okay, yeah, we're really good. I'm gonna let that cool off for a little bit before we actually start draining the oil, and then I will update you guys once the engine has cooled down quite a bit, and we will go from there. But this is ready to go underneath here. So I've got the fan blowing on the engine, cooling it off so it's not so dang hot when I get under there. But I forgot to tell you guys, in preparation for draining, always take off the oil cap because it lets the oil flow more freely. So just take off the cap, remove it there, and it'll allow the engine to breathe when you pull off that oil drain plug. So I'm gonna let this cool down for about 30 minutes before I start. All right, guys, while the engine is cooling down, let's take a look at what's in the oil filter box here. There should be a few things in here, more than one thing, probably 3 things. All right, so we got our, remember the BMW is a cartridge, not a oil filter. So there's the cartridge. Now here's important couple things. Inside this bag here, we have a new O-ring for the oil filter housing top. We have a new crush washer for the oil drain plug. Do not forget that. And then we have a new O-ring here for the cap on the oil filter housing top. So the easiest way to remove those, I believe I have a tool for this. Let's see. I do. So this is a nice tool for removing O-rings. So I'll be using that on the top. So we have all this laid out here. Have your rags ready to go. And we can go ahead actually now and take off the oil filter housing cap. All right, guys, so we got our ratchet here. We got our oil filter housing removal tool, cap removal tool, or whatever you want to call it. Just goes on like that, like a standard ratchet to a socket. Of course, our fan is right in the way. Let me get that moved, and then we'll go ahead and take that cap off. All right, guys, here is the N55. And this is the oil filter housing right there. Very prone to leakage. If you haven't replaced your gasket in there, it's going to eventually fail. So put our cap there in reverse. It is going to be tight. There's an O-ring seal in there. Go ahead and take that off. You better make sure you have all your supplies though before you start draining oil and taking this off. It's still pretty tight. It's going to be tight until you get it like almost off all the way. Now we're going to stop right there. It is loose. Now we are going to need some plastic bags to put the old oil filter in, so I'm going to grab that now. I am ready to extract this oil filter. So I've got the paper towels on standby. Now notice it tries to come out with it. It's very hot, by the way, so this is going to be hard to get out of there, but the cap wants to come off with it, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Set that over there inside the plastic bag so we don't make a mess, and I'm going to separate those with 2 hands. Guys, here's the old oil filter. There is the oil filter housing. Some oil got in there. I'm going to make sure I clean this off completely. Here is the oil filter housing cap. Notice the O-ring right there, that gets replaced. And that O-ring right there gets replaced. That's why we have the O-ring removal tool. So I got some paper towels here. The next thing I am going to do is completely get all the oil out of this old, the old oil out of the oil filter housing. So I use paper towels for that. I just soak it up in the paper towels. This gets rid of all the old nasty oil. Soak it up in the towels, and if you have gloves, put some rubber gloves on. I have some over there. I just haven't put any on yet. Go straight to your bags over here. I'm going to do that now. I'll show you guys when it's all done. I got most of the oil out of the oil filter housing.
all in this bag. Now we need to take the new O-rings and get them onto the oil filter housing cap. But first, I'm going to go over here, get some of my nice gloves over here, my vinyl gloves, which I love using so I don't get my hands completely dirty. So let's bring this cap over to the workbench. And we can clear off our ratchet. We don't need this anymore until we tighten it up. And I'm gonna put some gloves on and I'll be back with you. All right guys, we got our oil filter housing cap off right here. Now, this is where I told you guys that the O-ring removal tool would be handy, and it is. So we're gonna take this O-ring off here. And look at me not having garbage next to me to actually throw it in. Not prepared. Here is our garbage. Got that one off. Now this one's a little bit more tricky. Sorry about the clutter here. We got the extension cord running. This guy, just pull underneath there. And when you have this tool, it makes your life so much easier. Now get your paper towels ready. I'm a stickler about getting all the old oil off, which even though this oil is only about a month and a half old, that's fine. I still don't want any old oil residue. Go ahead and clean out the inside of that cap right there and the outside of the cap. Get that all nice and clean. Just stuff that paper towel in there and give it a good, you're never gonna get it all out, but you'll get most of it out. All right, so now we are ready for our new stuff. So here is the package of new stuff. We're done with our O-ring tool. Let's open that up. Now don't forget, we haven't drained the oil yet, so we gotta save this crush washer for that part. But we do have our new O-rings. Now here's an important part of this. With your new O-rings, open your new bottle of oil, but turn it upside down first after you take the foil cap off. So I took the foil cap off, I flip this upside down, I take the cap off again. Now I have a nice cap full of oil here. I take that and I lubricate these O-rings, just like that. Now this top O-ring goes right, well, let's do the bottom one first, that's probably easier. Obviously they go back right where the old ones were. So you just like stretch them out over, and sometimes they can be a bit of a pain, but stretch them out over the cap. It falls right into the groove there. Take some oil from your cap, make sure that's nice and lubricated. That's what assures a good seal. Take your new one for the tip. Get that over there. Make sure it's nice and lubricated. And that is it for the oil filter cap. Take your oil filter, put some oil on the top and the bottom. Push that over your cap, and this thing is ready to be back installed, guys. All right, guys, so the next thing we're going to talk about is what you need to do before you put this oil filter back in. So once the oil is completely drained, completely out of the car, which is still very hot, so I'm waiting for this car to cool down, we're going to want to fill this up with oil before we put the oil filter back in. So we will fill it up to, you know, the middle of the threads there. We don't want to do that yet though, because we're just filling it on top of old oil that will get drained out. So we're waiting for the car to cool down. Once the car cools down, we will go ahead and do the next step. All right, guys, so the car has been cooling off for a while. We're going to go ahead and try to get this oil out. So let's see if we can make a total mess. I've got some towels.
And we're gonna have to move the light somewhere else. Oh, it's already dripping. Okay. Yeah, I probably shouldn't have loosened it that much, huh? Already drippage. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this towel down just in case. It's a good idea to put extra towels down in case you make a total mess like I'm about to do. Oops. Oh, here comes Mr. Banks. All right, so yeah, that's gonna work okay, I think. It wants to kind of slide off though. Let's see what works best here. So I'm trying to get this thing up, and I actually need gloves too, so I'll be back. I'm gonna get some gloves on and get this thing going. All right, Mr. Banks insists on being part of this, so he is here. So we're gonna put something down here to raise this bottom up a little bit, and it didn't do much. But I've got the oil drain tray here. I got my gloves on. This is gonna make a mess for sure. Probably be hot too. But I hope that we get. Hope it doesn't go crazy out of the thing. Okay guys, we got the old drain plug right here. We're going to take off that crush washer. Try to take off the crush washer with one hand. Oh, there's two on there. I'm going to take that off now. There was actually two crush washers on there. There's the new crush washer. I'm going to go ahead and put that on the car, and then I'm going to tighten it hand tight, and then about a quarter of a turn with the ratchet. We have a helper now. I know. He's so excited to do this. All right, so for our next step, guys, we got all the oil drained out of the car. We are going to take our new oil here, and we are going to make a mess, probably, but we're going to pour some. Yep, we made a mess in the filter housing there. We spilled a little bit. Let's get that cleaned up. That's the first step, and then I'll get back to you. Today seems to be all about messes, but we are ready to put the oil filter cap back on. We got our O-rings. We got our tool here to put that in. So we're just gonna throw that right in there and go ahead and screw that guy on. So I'm gonna hand tighten it. And then I'm going to go about a quarter turn after I can't tighten it anymore with my hand. Still going by hand. Okay, that's tight. That's enough right there. Just a quarter turn, if you can even do that. I couldn't even get a quarter turn after my hand tightened it. So that is all for that step, and we'll be back with adding oil. Alright, so the next step is adding oil, so that shouldn't be too difficult unless you only have one hand, which that is what I have. Hey dude. I know. I don't know why cats are so dominant in our videos, but hey. So we need to put 6.9 quarts. So this is 5 here. This is going to be a mess if I try to do this with one hand, so I'm going to do this and get back to you guys. All right, so we got approximately 6.9 quarts in there, and put the oil cap back on. Don't forget that, because I have forgotten it sometime. We are going to get in the car and start it now. And if you hear any weird sounds, don't be alarmed. There might be some few seconds before oil pressure starts. So what we're going to do now is just let it run for a second, make sure there's no leaks. I don't see any obvious leaks down there. Everything looks good up here. Let's go ahead and shut it off and get the car off of the jacks. All right, we're going to drop the jack stands if we can. Okay, we can't, so we got to raise the jack a little bit. go ahead and close the hood for now. Alright, so now we should be able to drop the jack stand. Nope, still can't. Alright, let's raise it a little bit more. Alright, that should be plenty. Got the jack stands, got all the stuff out of the way. Make sure there's nothing under there that can get drug. There's not. Get this jack stand out. Alright, so we're going to let this back down onto the wood now. Very slowly. So we can get our jack out of there. Screwdriver out of the way. Alright, I need 2 hands for this. Don't see any problems right now. Oil temperature's cold, so we're going to go ahead and start cleaning up. Alright guys, so the last step is to check your oil, but I have a different cluster than you most likely. So I'm going to push in the stick on this aftermarket cluster, find the maintenance, hit that, go to oil level, and you notice that our oil level is good. So we have completely done the E90 oil change N55. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions, put it in the comment section, and I'll see you guys later.